I'm working on this set of map-themed postcards today, and I thought I would show you how I did my backgrounds because they turned out really well. So you can see behind all of this collage material that this map is red, and these are kind of a lime green, and this one is sort of yellow, and this one is orange. And I started, these are the scraps left over from when I covered my postcard backs. I started with, this is an old Mapsco, a street map, city street map. And it's white and yellow and green and blue and red. So one of the things I did was I chose maps that had a lot of activity on them, because there are some that are like this one. It's kind of wide open, there's not a lot going on, and it's mostly white. That ends up being sort of boring. Or like this one, that's not really as visually interesting as even this one. So look for maps that have a lot of stuff going on. And the other thing I did was I chose my colors based on what was going on the map. So this one I'd probably do yellow or red because it has a lot of red in it. This one I would do maybe orange. This one probably yellow or green. This one maybe green. So, you know, sort of key off of the colors that are in your map so that you don't end up with a lot of gray. Like this right here used to be green, but because I went over it with orange, now it's gray. So if I were to do this in orange, I would have a big gray spot in the center and then this gray over here. So that's something to be aware of. So, paints. These are really cheap acrylic paints, Anita's and Americana. They are the lowest pigment to binder ratio in craft paints. So they really act almost as glazes. So these aren't mounted on anything, so these pages might curl up a little bit. But I'm going to do this anyway. So this is a yellow, but it has a lot of white in it, so I really want to spread it very thin so that it acts like a glaze and so that my white doesn't destroy the detail of the map that's beneath it. So just want to use a very little bit of paint and spread it as much as you can. So that tiny little bit of paint covered this whole area. And now what I have is a map that's mostly yellow with a little bit of yellow-green and kind of some orange going on where the red used to be. So this looks pretty good. I would actually use that. Let's try one that's a little more difficult and a little darker. This is my red. This is one of my favorite colors. It's called Red Alert. It's a very orange red. But again, very little paint to cover this square. And you really want to use as little as possible and spread it as far as you can. A little bit more. So this red turned pretty much everything red, except this line right here, which was red and gray. So now this is very gray, and you can see the gray ghosted numbers really show up now. So painting over sort of takes away some details but augments others. So if you're not sure what's going to happen, do a little test piece like these, and they'll show you what you're going to get. Pick pale colors. You don't want to use like navy blue because you'll have a really hard time getting a lot of detail to show through. And use as little paint as possible and spread it as far as you can before you add more. And what you'll end up with is stuff like this.